We're living in times where people might think of R&R as ranting and raving. But as the seasons change, we're reminded nothing lasts forever. And we see hope in the world around us. A lot of people are seeking rest and relaxation, but I think most of all, we're looking for a change of scenery. My family and I just returned from a trip to the mountains. The fresh air and just a little bit of time in a different setting helped us reset our batteries and refocus our direction in these challenging and tough times that we've been facing.
This episode of Hometown Heroes is brought to you by Buick GMC. Step up like a pro. There are people dedicated to making others' lives better every day. They face challenges and make sacrifices to help those in need. Our heroes devote their skills, time, and sometimes their lives to service. In our own backyard or faraway places, theirs are stories of service.
One of the many reasons my family went to the mountains was to get out of our routine. And the city of Norfolk understands the value in getting out of the house and going to a neighborhood spot.
It gives the residents, the people in this area, somewhere to go, something to do. They've been shut in, things have been closed down. They want something to do, and this is exciting. You guys are going to have live music. They're able to come out and have social distancing in a park. You can't ask for anything more. Come on, Norfolk. Y'all just better come on, okay?
Our main focus when we started Open Norfolk was to help the businesses to understand how they could adapt to the new regulations and really keep their businesses alive. So now we've moved out to the neighborhoods and we recognize that there's a lack of community gathering right now. So we've called these our neighborhood spots. We have one in Five Points and then one in Broad Creek as well. So the spot will be available Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays just for recreation use. We'll have some games that kids can check out. And then we'll also be activating with specific programming like workshops for crafts, movie nights, and yoga.
Open Norfolk Phase 2 is fantastic. This is the coolest thing that the city of Norfolk could do for the citizens here in the city of Norfolk. It's going to give citizens an opportunity to have a place to go, to have a good time, but also be out in the open that is much needed as we go through the pandemic here. Thank you, citizens of Norfolk. Thank you to the residents of Ward 3.
Open Norfolk helps people escape, even to eat at a safe and fun place.
Una de las cosas más grandes que ha hecho es que nos ha permitido expandir el patio hasta afuera para poder tener a personas que vienen, porque mucha gente quiere salir de su casa, quieren venir a comer, pues qué mejor lugar que aquí.
Hopefully it's a permanent thing because a lot of people do like the idea of being able to sit outside and enjoying the weather, and plus it provides me with more seating options. Because we are so small, to have this extension actually helps a lot.
So we immediately set about working when the Phase 1 rules came out, trying to figure out how we could create outdoor dining, how we could create spaces that work for our small businesses in the city.
I've worked with the city for about 17 years. However, for them to say that we're going to paint an area, extend your patio, and we're going to have this done within 5 to 7 days is absolutely phenomenal.
That's why Open Norfolk is tremendous for these businesses, because it just gives them that extra boost of confidence. We want Norfolk to continue to be on that path of continuous success.
We provided everything we could at no cost to the businesses. They had already suffered enough, and we wanted to try to help them as best we could.
The city has been quite supportive. Without them, I don't know how we would have gotten through this. When they had explained what they're going to do, so I'm like, how much is this going to cost? She says, well, the city is donating. I'm like, what?
Open Norfolk provided our whole patio and the tables and chairs. And I literally didn't even have to come out here and do anything.
I think Norfolk's gone above and beyond their call to make that happen for its small business community.
Thank you, Open Norfolk and Work Program Architecture, for providing this outdoor seating for Cutter's Kitchen. We appreciate it.
Pues gracias realmente a la ciudad de Norfolk por la oportunidad y por ayudarnos a seguir en el negocio y pues aquí estamos para ustedes.
Nature can be soothing, and in Hampton Roads, veterans have the opportunity to find community and healing with a bridle at Trails of Purpose.
And so what we do is offer mental health care, so equine-assisted psychotherapy or psychoeducational classes, community classes for veterans completely free of charge. We're a IRS-certified 501c3. We operate as a PATH center, PATH standing for Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship.
It's the veterans taking care of the veterans, and that was the reason, you know. I feel comfortable, and it's fun, you know, and especially the volunteers. Thank you again.
So I grew up on Long Island in New York, outside of New York City, about an hour outside. My father passed away in 9/11. I was 8 years old. He worked in the North Twin Tower of the World Trade Center. And so I grew up and I saw this equine therapy, and at some point I decided I was going to commit my life to serving others who are also feeling the firsthand effects of trauma and terrorism. Horses are herd animals. They function in a herd mentality. They're constantly looking out for others around them. So that has a lot to do with the similarities between veterans and horses. Veterans are trained to have a herd mentality. They've always got their partner six. So they kind of feed off each other. If we get a veteran who's in session, who is hyperactive, a little bit more aware, on alert, the horse is going to start to act that way. So we're really careful and intentional about not just being a program that you come in and you go out of, but a program that you come in and we tailor to you, and then you leave, and hopefully you personally have felt like you've gained some momentum in your life.
It's an amazing program that I'm incredibly grateful for. The biggest change in me is just a sense of calmness. I was always very anxious, and as soon as I drive in those front gates, it's just an immediate sense of calm with me.
We will be a space to talk with you. We have all certified mental health counselors that do that, and we just want to be that for the community, for the veteran community. We also provide it to spouses or children of the veteran. Again, 100% free. We rely solely on grant raising and individual donations to operate. So there's no money that needs to happen when you come to Trails of Purpose.
It's really a blessing that it's free, because nothing is free. And Kayla has such a heart to serve the veteran community. It's really appreciated.
I get way more out of Trails of Purpose than any veteran that walks through that door, hands down. I promise, for the rest of my life. It is the thing that keeps me filled up at the end of the day. Veterans are finding change when they come here, and they're finding the support that they need and that they deserve.
We're just getting started, and when we come back, we'll see other ways people are helping each other. Stay with us.
This episode of Hometown Heroes is brought to you by Buick GMC. Step up like a pro.
After a hurricane or other natural disaster, people are often stranded, with no home and with no food. Gary LeBlanc founded Mercy Chefs to respond to disaster locations, going wherever they are needed.
Scoop and push, scoop and push!
I believe there is a better way to feed people that had just lost everything. And so Mercy Chefs was formed out of that love, out of that passion to care for people with a plate of food. People after a storm oftentimes haven't even taken the time to contemplate their situation. They're just in the middle of it. And over that shared meal, often they think for the first time, what has happened to me? Max, you were here for the storm? Must have been pretty scary, huh? I'm glad you made it through, little man.
They get to leave the chaos, they get to sit around a table and share a meal. And in that time, they can make a plan for how they're going to get through the next few hours. They can figure out how they're going to get their kids back to school if the school is open. And so it creates more than just the meal itself. And I find a lot of satisfaction in that. I think that's really a pretty amazing thing.
We believe that neighbors helping neighbors is one of the best ways to do recovery. We're working now with over 16 agencies in the 7 cities area. We only do food. We don't do the enrichment part. But when we partner with somebody that is doing homework assistance or weekend care or after school programs, we're able to bring that high quality, nutritious food into communities that don't see that all the time. And it makes all those programs even more effective.
So we partner with all kinds of agencies, from the Portsmouth Health Department to 4Kids to the Southeastern Food Bank to Park Place School. And we cook food for them or do training around food. And that's a part of a program that they have that is making a difference in the community.
Just the difference that Mercy Chef has made for us, just the kids are not as angry anymore. They are simply coming in and having the ability to learn and not think about their stomach growling. And that's a big plus.
Before Mercy Chefs, the teachers would have to buy lunch meat or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and kind of put them together and do the best they could to provide for the kids.
Right now, these kids have a great opportunity to eat, and then they can go into the classroom being filled, so they can have no problem with learning. Like, the focus is learning, not how much food I gotta eat later because I'm hungry. When I get home, I need to eat a meal. No, eat the meals here. When you get the opportunity, you have another meal for lunch. Can't beat it. Kids are very thankful.
1 in 6 children in Hampton Roads go to bed hungry at night. 1 in 6. And with our skill set, with what we're able to do, we just didn't think that we could watch that anymore. And so we began a very purposeful entry into community feeding and being socially responsible with how we used our assets in between disasters. I'm asked all the time, why do you do this? And I know why I do it. I get this incredible personal satisfaction out of it. I feel rewarded. This is what I was wired and built to do. I get to see people's lives changed. I know all the reasons that I do it, but I think the bigger question is, why don't more people do this? This is an incredible thing. Why don't more people get involved?
Mercy Chefs went to the aid of Louisiana residents after Hurricane Laura. And earlier in the year, they were cooking for families in Hampton Roads, partnering with the Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia.
Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia serves the South Hampton Roads and Western Tidewater areas, and we provide comprehensive programming for older adults in our community. Everything from transportation to Meals on Wheels, senior companions, benefits counseling, and a variety of other services. We have transitioned all of our services since the pandemic has started. From face-to-face, in contact, let me shake your hand type of a service, to let me remain in contact with you. Let me show you virtually or telephonically that we remember you, that we know you, and that we care about you. It makes a huge difference for seniors to be able to have that contact and just that confirmation that people love and care for them. And that's a lot of what we're doing now. Partnerships became essential for us to meet the growing demand for both meals and services in the community. Mercy Chefs, I didn't even know that they were in our community, but they stepped up and said, look, we know that you have more demand for meals than you can possibly be making right now. And they started making meals for us. And not just meals, quality meals that meet our nutrition standards and our quality standards. And we were able to meet the needs of everybody who called us and said, I'm in need of food right now in our community who's 60 and older. And between Mercy Chefs, the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia, and our drivers and volunteers from the community, we were able to meet that complete demand. And now, while the demand for food continues to increase, we've been able to transition to Beth Shalom, for example, who's able to now increase their capacity to help us meet that demand on an ongoing basis. We're so happy to have the support of so many local organizations, including the United Way of South Hampton Roads, the Hampton Roads Community Foundation, Virginia Natural Gas, and the Elizabeth River Crossings Foundation have all pitched in to make sure that we're able to have the resources we need to serve the older adults in our community. This is not a short-term change for us. We're really looking at this as a longer-term process in re-engaging our older adults back into the community. And our goal at Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia is to become a trusted resource for that information, and also when a senior is ready to step back into the community, they know if they step in through Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia, it's going to be safe, we're going to keep their health and wellness as our top priority, and they're going to be able to re-engage and stay healthy, active, and engaged.
Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia empowers seniors and their caregivers. When we come back, we'll learn about a project that empowers others and calls for all of us to be alert. Stay with us.
This episode of Hometown Heroes is brought to you by Buick GMC. Step up like a pro.
This has been a tough year. We hear about events being canceled and planned projects falling apart. But the Safe House Project is growing. They're adding additional beds and training people to prevent, spot, and report child trafficking.
My name? I had no name. Not to them. My innocence was stolen at the tender age of 6 by my stepdad.
When I was 12, my dad started sexually abusing me, and that progressed as I got older, and eventually that led to trafficking me to others. No one really wanted to get involved. No one ever wanted to ask questions or talk about it. And I think that's why it's important to have these conversations, is because a lot of us think of child sex trafficking as something that's happening in a great big city and, people being imported from other countries. And that's true, but it's also happening in smaller communities and families.
I think that what is really important to understand is that only 4% of child sex trafficking cases involve abduction. And so what we're really looking at is an epidemic that has woven itself into the fabric of our community, and it's hiding in plain sight. Safe House Project began in Hampton Roads in 2018 in response to the fact that Health and Human Services estimated that 300,000 American children are victims of child sex trafficking every year, right here in our own communities. There's a lot of misinformation. And so before we can truly respond with a solution, we have to understand the problem. And so education is key. Recently, we hosted an event here at Mount Trashmore for World Against Trafficking in Persons Day, which really was a peace march. We wanted to bring together people who want to see sex trafficking eradicated. Safe House Project, in partnership with the Malou Foundation, is launching the first of its kind survivor-written training that teaches you how to spot, report, and prevent trafficking in your community. And so we have to understand, what are the signs and indicators that are present in different types of trafficking situations, so we feel empowered to see something and say something. Choose to fight. We have to choose to fight for our kids. We have to fight for the next generation. And we have to end the generational impact of child sexual abuse and child sex trafficking in America.
It is the people who showed me that I have dignity, value, and worth as a human being, as a child, not as a commodity. In the Safe House, I was changed, saved. I am stronger now. I am just getting started. I'm young. My life has barely begun. Here's to holding on to all the things yet to come.
The founders of the Safe House Project have called the next 10 years the Decade of Hope. Their goal is to eradicate child trafficking by 2030. We'll return in just a moment.
This episode of Hometown Heroes is brought to you by Buick GMC. Step up like a pro.
Recently, Marines read an open letter to salute veterans on the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II.
We are honored to represent the entire Marine Corps family in extending deepest appreciation to all of our nation's World War II veterans.
As we reflect on the 75th anniversary of the end of the war, we remember the sacrifices of those who fought as part of our greatest generation.
Thank you for your service, for answering the nation's call with courage and devotion to duty.
You willingly went into harm's way, some from sea, some taken to the skies, and some battling your way ashore.
You faced formidable terrain of untamed mountains and forests, parched deserts, and dense jungles. Alongside foreign allies, you fought valiantly for peace and freedom.
You are warriors who epitomized the mental and physical fortitude and unwavering courage that form the cornerstones of our armed forces, and you have earned the deepest respect and gratitude of all Marines.
As Marines, we are charged with carrying forward the memories of those who fought before us. Our core values of honor, courage, and commitment connect us to generations of warriors who committed themselves to the defense of our great nation.
It is our sacred duty to remember their service and sacrifice. During this anniversary year, we pay tribute to all of our brave warriors of our greatest generation, who set the standards for courage and warfighting excellence.
Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do for our nation.
We appreciate the dedication and service of our hometown heroes, and we leave you now with a return to the tranquil setting at Trails of Purpose.